everyone. It's me with Healing House Counseling, Fairbanks. Give it a couple seconds to see if anyone could join me. If I'll just continue. You can watch it later. I do want to thank everyone for the topics of discussion and the questions that I received. I got a lot of them. I'm super excited. I hope you can hear me. I'm super excited about it because there's a lot of interesting topics. Some that I thought, I could probably get on my soapbox about that one and go on forever and ever. And then there were others that I looked at that I'm not that familiar with. And so I'm excited to be able to do some research and to grow in that way. And so thank you for sharing all of the topics and the questions, because I know we're all busy. And if you're taking time to watch, I thank you for that as well. Thank you for the support and the encouragement that I received also. This is me kind of stepping outside of my comfort zone, doing what I ask my clients to do every day. And so it is a little uncomfortable and a little nerve-wracking, but it's good. It's a good thing. It's going to cause me to grow, and so I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. Today, the topic that I decided to go with was emotional. It's emotional abuse, and when I think of emotional abuse, I think of verbal abuse. But I got to doing some research, and found, and I'm looking at my notes here, wondering why I keep looking away. I found emotional abuse there's several different types of emotional abuse. Verbal, so that's the yelling, insulting, swearing at them, grading them. Then rejection is another form of emotional abuse. Pretending not to notice someone's presence in the room, or the conversation, or their value. Basically just ignoring them, not showing them attention, not inviting them to be a part of the conversation, even though they're in the same room. That's a form of rejection, and that's a form of emotional abuse. Put downs is exactly what it says. That's name calling, public embarrassment or humiliation, calling people stupid, blaming them for everything, making them feel as if they're the reason that things are going wrong. Afraid, actually causing someone to be afraid, is a form of emotional abuse. By intimidation, threatening them. Isolation is another form of emotional abuse, and that's limiting someone's freedom of movement, stopping them from contacting their friends, their relatives, and other family members. Controlling their money, that's a form of emotional abuse. Withholding money from them, preventing them from working to earn their own money, stealing or taking someone's money, is a form of emotional abuse. And then bullying. So this is the purpose, when you purposefully and repeatedly say hurtful things or do things to them. So that's a broad list of emotional abuse that can be considered emotional abuse. And so I was looking around at some factual information, rather than just kind of spill out all the different answers that I have, folks who really express and share their experience. Emotional. I thought I might throw something out there, looking at what drives emotional abuse. Why are people emotionally abusive? And we all have the capacity to be emotionally abusive. So according to psychology, emotionally abusive people typically blame the person they're abusing. So they might say something like, well, if you hadn't pushed my buttons, I wouldn't have. Or they might say something like, they have overreacted, but, right? And so looking at emotionally abusive people, we're looking at them to be pretty angry, and in their mind, they feel like they're the victim. And so they're justified in abusing other people because they have that mindset that it's okay for them to respond in the way that they are because they had a bad childhood, or everybody treats them this way or that way. They just abusive people tend to be pretty anxious and feel like things are going to go badly, or that they won't be able to cope with a situation, and so they try to control their environment and who are in their environment avoid those negative feelings of failure or inadequacy. So like physical abuse, one can feel trapped and pretty helpless and hopeless in a relationship where they're being emotionally abused. It can sometimes as if there's no out and as if no one is going to help you overly because there's no physical signs of abuse, right? And sometimes they'll even doubt whether it's abuse or not. Even though they know they don't feel good about it, they know that it's painful because there's physical expression of this abuse. Sometimes it goes unspoken, right? Not all abuse involves emotional. Not all emotional abuse involves shame, like we were talking about earlier. I was going down the list. One form of emotional abuse that comes with the silent treatment or stonewalling is how it's referred to. That's when you won't accept anyone else's perspective. This type of person may be workaholic and avoid any type of conflict, or when they are, they may be overly flirtatious. When they're in a relationship, they may be overly flirtatious with someone outside of the relationship. They try to deal with their sense of inadequacy simply not trying, right? So if they don't attempt, then they can fail. But dismiss another person's perspective, so this is the person who's being emotionally abused. When their perspective is not being taken into consideration, feeling or because they are being dismissed, this their wants, their desires, their needs, this can be very painful, right? It can cause you to feel unseen, it can cause you to feel unheard, it can feel unattractive. If you have children, it can make you feel like you're a parent in the relationship. The abused person, as a result, adopt some pretty unhealthy responses to the emotional abuse. So that's like you have to walk around on eggshells. Maybe that's one response that you have. No way to live. If you've ever felt like you had to walk around on eggshells to avoid conflict and keep the peace, you know how uncomfortable and how painful and how much work that can be. They might start second guessing themselves. You start to second guess yourself, you then begin to lose your sense of self. Does that make sense? Okay. So another result of unhealthy responses to emotional abuse, if you're the person who's being abused, can be poor self-esteem, poor self-image, a lack of self-worth as a result. Emotional and verbal abuse and the effects thereof don't just affect the two adults that are in the relationship. And so if you have children, those kiddos can be greatly affected as well. And so looking at the research that's out there and available, children that grow up in emotionally abusive homes are more likely to develop clinical anxiety and depression. So when we throw the word clinical in front of it, that means that it interrupts their ability to function normally, right? They can have sleeping problems, so sleeping too much, or the other end of the spectrum, not sleeping enough. They can have difficulty concentrating and focusing, which can cause them problems in school. Higher risk for drug and alcohol use. Poor self-esteem. There are even experts that suggest that verbal and emotional abuse can be even more damaging than physical abuse. And they say that this is due to the frequency of the emotional abuse. Emotional abuse tends to occur more frequently than physical abuse. With physical abuse, there may be you may be physically assaulted, and then there's like a honeymoon period where the person's like, oh, please forgive me, I'll never do it again. And then there's a period of time where you're not being physically abused. Well, emotional abuse is a little different. The frequency tends to be ongoing, continuously, and that's why they believe it's a little more damaging. And also the self-blame. Blaming ourselves for the abuse makes it more damaging as well, because then we're the one who's flawed and not the person who's actually abusing us. I recently had a young lady tell me that bruises heal, but the words can last a lifetime. And I think that's a good example of what the experts are saying when they say that emotional abuse can be more damaging than physical abuse. Healing from emotional abuse is possible. Great news. You have within yourself the capacity to learn to love yourself despite abuse. You have the ability to be more confident. You have the ability to tap into the power that is within you. And if you're an emotionally abusive person, there's hope and healing for you as well. If you go to my website, healinghousecounseling.net, there's a resource page, and you will find information on there that will direct you to help, whether you're the abuser or the one being abused. Also, locally in Fairbanks, Alaska, we have the Interior Alaska Center for Nonviolent Living, and they offer supportive services to those that are being abused. Their website is www.iacnvl.org. Also, LEAP, L-E-A-P, Alternatives to Violence. They offer groups for men, women, and children. They help you identify abuse. They help you deconstruct the beliefs that justify abuse, and they teach healthy relationship and parenting skills. And their website is www.leapfbks.com. I will put this information in the notes of this video, as well as a link to my website if you would like some more resources on this. There's a book that I recommend, The Emotionally Abusive Relationship: How to Stop Being Abused and How to Stop Abusing. That's by Beverly Engel. You can get it for about $22 online. And then Focus on the Family offers a free series on healing the wounds of emotional abuse. You can find that online at Focus on the Family, and it's written by Mary J. Yerkes, I believe is her last name. But yeah, if you're being abused, seek out some help. There are resources available to you. You don't have to try to figure it out on your own. You don't have to struggle through in silence. There are tons of resources available to you to help you get out of that situation, or to find ways to prepare to get out of that situation. And if you're the one who's abusing, stop it. Get some help. There's help available. There's tons of resources available to you as well. And if you have any questions, if you have any follow-up questions about this topic, leave me a comment in the notes, or send me a message on Facebook, or send me an email. You can either do that through my website or through Facebook, I believe. Send me an email, send me a message, call me, 385-2165, area code 907, and I'll talk to you about it and try to get you pointed in the right direction to get some help. Thanks for listening, and thank you for the topics and the support. I will try to do this weekly Wednesday afternoons, and for as long as I can. And hopefully you find this to be useful. And if you have any more topics, any more suggestions, let me know. Thanks.